I'm Russ Mitchell. Tonight, dire new predictions about disappearing species, melting glaciers, shrinking continents, and more. Scientists say all the results of global warming. Also tonight, a threat from the sun to those GPS navigation systems more and more of us have in our cars. John McCain's controversial visit to Baghdad. 60 Minutes went along. We'll have an exclusive preview of Sunday's Scott Pelley report. And can your dog do this? Tonight, some of the greatest athletes on 4 legs.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
And good evening. Katie is off tonight. We are beginning this evening with the dramatic changes that are coming to our world, at least according to scientists out tonight with their latest predictions. They say heat waves will cut food production and increase wildfires. By 2020, as many as 250 million more people could go thirsty. And if average temperatures increase just 2 degrees, it could put 30% of the world's species at a greater risk of extinction. We have 2 reports this evening on our changing climate, beginning with Mark Phillips.
We're now over the Hollywood freeway.
The Hollywood sign had a narrow escape in a recent California brush fire. It may not be so lucky in the future. More heat, more drought, and more frequent fires are in the forecast for the West Coast, according to the UN Climate Change Panel's latest report. All caused by the diminished mountain snowpack that global warming is predicted to bring. There'll be more competition for the Southwest's already scarce water reserves, and more heat waves in all parts of the country, and more flooding in low-lying areas of the Southeast. But the most severe effect of global warming over the next century won't be felt in the prosperous West. It'll be faced by those in the world least able to endure it, the poor. Tropical areas, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, will see increasing heat and drought, crop failure and famine. The low-lying river deltas and shorelines of Asia will lose their ongoing battle against rising waters.
Going to be the worst sufferers, and poor not only in the poorest countries, but poor even in the rich countries. So I think we really, as a global community, have to worry about the implications of climate change for the poorest people.
But here's the dilemma. Those poor countries argue that they will now suffer due to global warming caused by greenhouse gases produced in the rich industrialized world, while at the same time they're being told not to produce more greenhouse gases of their own as they try to industrialize their way out of poverty. The scientific argument about global warming is over. It's a political argument now. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
I'm Jerry Bowen in Los Angeles. The dire warnings in the UN report come as no surprise in the American West, where devastatingly costly wildfires have become the norm. Southern California's massive 2003 Grand Prix blaze was thought to be exceptional at the time. Wow. At 60,000 acres, it cost $60 million to control, and $1 billion more in damage to homes and power lines. Fire officials say if the UN report is right, the Grand Prix was just a practice lap.
Add into what we see with the climate change, now you're just pouring on a very high fuel, if you will, onto the whole fire, which could create something very catastrophic, but unfortunately it may not be unusual.
Climate change is already seen as the main culprit in the more intense wildfires, according to a study that blames drought and too much tinder dry fuel for a dramatic change over more than 3 decades. In just 34 years, the average time between discovery and control of wildfires has gone from 7.5 to 37 days. The length of the fire season has increased 78 days. The Bush administration says the report points up the need for better forest management and expertise to deal with global warming.
We've got several decades of work to bring our forests back to more natural conditions that makes them less prone to these catastrophic fires.
But it's the short term that's the problem, and the outlook is troubling. There's been a big change in the weather, and out west that may mean a never-ending fire season. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Strange weather is certainly on a lot of minds in the Northeast tonight, where a spring freeze is on. Up to 1.5 feet of snow fell this week in parts of Maine and New Hampshire, bringing down trees and power lines. Utility crews are still working tonight to get power back. At one point, 180,000 homes and businesses were in the dark. And it was cold, relatively speaking, in Paradise. The temperature in Hawaii yesterday got as low as 57 degrees. It was a record for that date. And if all this weird weather is not enough, scientists warn today of a new threat from the sun something that can make those GPS navigation systems go haywire. More now from our science and technology correspondent, Daniel Seberg.
They explode from the sun with the power of 10 million volcanic eruptions, solar flares. The colorful northern lights are a side effect. But these scenic events in space can cause serious problems for communications on Earth.
The solar flare.
Researchers like Dale Gary from the New Jersey Institute of Technology now say intense bursts have affected the world's primary navigational tool, the Global Positioning System, or GPS.
0.2 of a mile ahead. Turn right.
It's handy for finding the nearest restaurant while driving, but it's critical for everything from airplane travel to the guidance of military weapons.
As people are using GPS in more and more ways, people can end up relying on it in ways that can be a problem if it's interrupted.
The radiation from a solar flare contains radio waves, which act as noise or static, potentially disrupting not only air traffic and military activity, but also power grids and cell phones. The frequency of flares recorded in early December were so powerful, experts say, it was like an opera singer breaking glass. Here's an audio recording made then by a ham radio operator.
This particular burst was a factor of 10 larger than the previous record.
Scientists say these recent events serve as a wake-up call about the need to improve GPS satellites and communication systems to protect them against these intense solar phenomena. Daniel Seberg, CBS News, New York.
When Congress began daylight saving time 3 weeks early this year, the idea was to save energy. But tonight it looks like the extra daylight may have led to more energy use, at least more gasoline. According to the Energy Department, gasoline consumption rose nearly 3% in those 3 weeks of March, to the highest level ever for that period. Republican presidential hopeful John McCain is still drawing political fire tonight over his comments in Baghdad that security there is improving. Scott Pelley was with the senator on that visit this week for an exclusive 60 Minutes interview.
With pressure to withdraw from Iraq building back home, Senator John McCain landed in the midst of the Baghdad surge and did something that would have been unthinkable a few weeks ago.
We'll show you ground zero.
The new commander, Army General David Petraeus, sealed McCain inside the latest armored Humvee. Soldiers call it a full-up Frag 5. And he took McCain on a Sunday drive to the market. General Petraeus wrote the book on the Bush administration's new strategy. He started 8 weeks ago, moving U.S. troops off of bases and into neighborhoods to clear and hold the streets. This is the centerpiece, the Al-Shorja market. 2 months ago, it was devastated by a car bomb, but now the Army has banned vehicles and laid on extra security. Petraeus brought McCain to a rug shop.
Give me 3 of them.
An ordinary scene until you step back to see the 22 soldiers outside. Inside, McCain did his own reporting.
Are things in the last 2 months, are things better or worse?
The rug merchant said things are better, but he said there are still snipers in the neighborhood that sometimes paralyze the market. The tour of the bazaar seemed, well, a little bizarre. The delegation played the role of tourists while surrounded by enormous firepower. The guns, though, couldn't protect McCain from his own words, and he said this on the radio.
There are neighborhoods in Baghdad where you and I could walk through those neighborhoods today.
Senator McCain now tells Scott he misspoke and regrets what he said. You can hear what he's now saying in this exclusive interview this Sunday on 60 Minutes. In Iraq today, at least 27 people were killed in a suicide truck bombing. It happened in Ramadi, the capital of Anbar province. Police opened fire on the bomber as he approached a checkpoint, but he crashed right into the barricade, detonating the TNT and toxic chlorine gas he was carrying. Al-Qaeda in Iraq is believed to be behind this attack, the 9th using chlorine gas this year. In other news, there's more fallout from the U.S. attorney firings. A top aide to Attorney General Gonzalez, Monica Goodling, abruptly resigned today. Goodling has refused to tell Congress what she knows about the firings, asserting her right against self-incrimination. There is a lot more CBS News ahead. When we come back, they are short on equipment and now short on time to train. National Guard brigades facing another tour in Iraq. Free and back home, the British sailors and Marines who were held in Iran for nearly 2 weeks said today the Iranians played mind games on them the whole time. They told reporters today they were also blindfolded, bound, and held in isolation. They insist they were in Iraqi waters when the Iranians captured them. As for why they confessed on Iranian TV to trespassing,
we were interrogated most nights and presented with two options. If we admitted that we'd strayed, we'd be back on a plane to the UK pretty soon. If we didn't, we faced up to 7 years in prison.
These sailors and Marines called the whole thing an Iranian media stunt. Iran's government was quick to respond, claiming what the men said today was dictated by the British military. In this country, the Pentagon today began notifying National Guard brigades in 4 states. They'll be heading to Iraq a whole lot sooner than they expected, more than likely early next year. Indiana's 76th Brigade combat team got the word today. Units from Ohio and Arkansas are also on the list, and so is Oklahoma's 45th Infantry Brigade. As Harish Srinivasan reports, for the Guard members, this latest call-up could not happen at a worse time.
Just throw them down the ground. For Oklahoma National Guard members, there's a new urgency to monthly drills because they're being called back to battle. Normally, it would be another 3 years before these Guard members would train for redeployment, but the new Pentagon orders will send them to Iraq next year, shortening their time to train and to gear up.
We're short some individual equipment that our soldiers normally would have and will have prior to going into combat.
In fact, to train for battle, the unit of 3,500 soldiers says it needs 2,600 night vision goggles and 2,100 M4 rifles. Right now, the Oklahoma Guard doesn't have that essential battlefield equipment, and the general in charge says having access to the same equipment in training as on the battlefield is crucial.
You can't train unless you have the equipment.
General Bud Wyatt believes the Guard will eventually get the equipment, but says time is fast running out.
We should have had all the equipment by now, and we should have had all the schools and all the training finished by now. But when you accelerate it by 2 years, you are behind the power curve, and we don't have time to piddle around. We got to get busy.
Take a few steps back and again fall.
Kirk Dowell is busy no matter which uniform he's wearing. An Oklahoma police officer, Dowell served in Afghanistan and in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. Now he and wife Sanda are facing his 3rd deployment in 5 years.
It's extremely difficult to maintain your civilian career and family, knowing at any minute that you could be separated from that.
So Dowell will savor his time around the dinner table with his family this Easter weekend. Because next year, his holiday will likely be spent rolling through Iraq. Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, Oklahoma City.
The last of 3 bank robbery suspects wanted in connection with yesterday's shooting death of an FBI agent was arrested today. That shooting is now being called a case of friendly fire. The suspect was captured after a 22-hour search through the New Jersey woods. FBI agents had him and 2 other men under surveillance yesterday for a string of bank robberies. Agent Barry Lee Bush was shot, apparently by another agent, as his team confronted the suspects. Up next on this Good Friday, we'll show you a place where it's criminal to be Christian. This is Good Friday, the day Christians commemorate the death of Jesus. In Jerusalem's Old City, pilgrims today traced the path he took to his crucifixion. And in Rome, Pope Benedict carried a large wooden cross into the Colosseum, where early Christians were persecuted. Those Christians kept the faith in underground churches. In China, which claims to allow freedom of religion, Christianity is still underground today. Here's Barry Peterson.
They sing Baby Jesus is Sleeping in the Hay. To us, they look like children performing for their congregation. But to the Chinese authorities, they are criminals. Because this is an underground house church, so called because they meet without state approval. They let us in to take these pictures to show both faith and defiance, while this congregation bravely shared with us what happens when the authorities find the faithful. The police called us evil and arrested us for illegal assembly, she explains. Chinese-born American Sam Chow works in China for religious freedom and researched the dangers faced by underground church worshipers.
I interviewed maybe 40, 50 people. Every one of them were beaten and jailed and harassed.
When Mao Zedong took power, he banned religion. Communism was the new faith. These days, the state allows churches, but worshipers must register with police. And yet, look at the faces. So many young people, even here.
They've grown up in a society where the moral imperative is make money and get ahead. And that doesn't take you very far.
People here are discovering perhaps a simple truth, that money alone isn't bringing happiness. So hundreds of millions of Chinese, their numbers growing every day, are seeking something more. So even traditional Eastern religions like Buddhism are flourishing again, but none like the underground Christians. In this village, they were even building their own church until, as this cell phone video shows, the authorities knocked it down. In China, it was once easy to know what to believe in, the Communist Party. Those days may be gone for good, as a new generation learns how to find and keep its own faith. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Beijing.
A search is continuing tonight for 2 passengers still missing after a Greek cruise ship hit a reef in the Aegean Sea and sank. At first, authorities said everyone had been rescued, but today we learned a Frenchman and his daughter are still unaccounted for. Up next, Steve Hartman with Assignment America. Stay with us. Well, what can your dog do? Beg, roll over, perhaps give you a paw? Steve Hartman shows what the jocks of the canine world are doing in tonight's Assignment America.
In a second, you're going to see that dog weave in and out of those poles. And I just want you to know, we did not speed up this video. That's just how fast they go here at the American Kennel Club Dog Agility Championships in Sunbury, Ohio. Last weekend, dogs and handlers from 42 different states took part in the competition. The object? To get your dog through a series of obstacles in a specific order. The order changes every time, so it's up to the handler to tell the dog where to go next.
Through the yellow tunnel and onto the seesaw.
The fastest time with the fewest mistakes wins. And they take it seriously.
I feel pretty secure on the opening. We do that opening a lot. I was really worried about the tunnel A-frame discrimination. That is an area that I always have to work with him.
Wow. And you haven't heard the half of it.
Is that stretching?
Stretching. After we run, to kind of keep her muscles loose, just like any athlete.
I love being with this dog.
Jinsey St. Croix. That's the woman's name. And her dog, Star, are fairly typical contestants.
You're the best puppy in the world. You want a fuzzy toy?
This is a dumb question, but do you have any kids?
No, we don't.
I didn't think so.
I do this a lot.
Fact is, getting to this level of dog agility is virtually a full-time job. Practicing nearly every day, traveling to meets nearly every weekend.
How into this are you?
This is Terry LeClaire.
Pretty far.
He re-landscaped his yard for this sport.
So the thing about agility, eventually you get to the point where you take out your patio to increase the practice space. So the patio's gone. I didn't have a swimming pool. Other people fill in the swimming pool.
No!
Yes, they do.
Other people also work out a lot themselves to keep up with the dogs. Other people.
You didn't necessarily get into the best shape for this.
It'd be hard to deny that, so. In fact, if I look down, I have trouble seeing the dog, you know.
But in a way, that's the beauty of this sport. Although there were multiple winners in multiple categories, I noticed everybody left the course praising their dog. Little League parents, take note.
You're a good girl.
This is what sports are supposed to be like.
I love you.
As maybe you noticed, dog agility is primarily dominated by middle-aged women. But I tell you, if CBS gave me a 6-month sabbatical, Riley and I would be out there in a heartbeat. It looks like so much fun.
Hey, that's really fun. Always good to have a backup plan too, Steve.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to quit my day job.
What do you have next week?
Okay, 3 choices as always. First one, Sister Julie, a nun devoted to prayer, celibacy, and blogging. She encourages people to ask her about anything. Anything. And people do. If you want, we could meet her. Or would you rather visit Arnold Bloom, considered by many kids to be the greatest substitute teacher ever? He's also bordering on the oldest. What makes him so awe-inspiring? Or finally, it's a softball team that just can't lose. The Northampton Lady Spartans have the longest winning streak in college sports history. How long is it? And will they blow it on national TV if we show up next week? So those are your choices. To vote or suggest a story of your own, please go to cbsnews.com and click on Assignment America. Story with the most votes will play right here next Friday night.
Tonight's Assignment America segment is sponsored by ExxonMobil, taking on the world's toughest energy challenges.
And finally tonight, the Masters. It was another cool, dry day for round 2 at Augusta National in Georgia. Halfway through the tournament, and only a handful of golfers are below par on a very fast course. Tiger Woods is 3 over. You can catch live coverage of the Masters tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Time and Sunday at 2:30 right here on CBS. And that is the CBS Evening News. Katie Kirk will be back on Monday. I'm Russ Mitchell in New York. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. Good night.